Hi everyone, I'm back with you with another video lecture, and this time the lecture is on G.F. Patel's short poem entitled On Killing a Tree. On Killing a Tree. And this is in the second module of your textbook, Zeitgeist, Readings on Society and Culture. The second module is entitled Sustainable Environment, and this poem, On Killing a Tree, is related to environmental concerns. And sustainable environment is known to you. We discussed it some time ago. And now let's focus on this short poem by G.F. Patel with the title On Killing a Tree. Here is a picture of G.F. Patel, who was born in 1940, and he's still alive. Now, he was born in an Indian poet, born in actually Maharashtra in Mumbai. He studied at Grant Medical College, and he is a medical practitioner. He is a doctor by profession. But he belongs to a group of writers who subscribed to the Green Movement. And as the movement's name suggests, Green Movement, it's related to environment, the plants, trees, and such green world known to you. And he belonged to that group of poets who are known as writers of the Green Movement. And he got involved personally in activities for the protection of environment. Humans, as you know, humans harm our environment very much, no one else. Animals, birds, plants, etc. do not harm environment at all. Their activities only contribute to the sustenance of our environment. But of all the creatures living on the earth, we find human beings to be living in such a way or acting in such a way that our environment is seriously damaged. So some people, especially people like G.F. Patel and others, environmentalists or writers and poets who take interest in the protection of environment, are very sensitive to the kind of developments taking place. We spoil our water sources. We bring down hills and mountains. We make our surroundings littered with all kinds of rubbish, and we make our surroundings very unclean. So these are some of, and of course, you see the damage caused to environment by factories, manufacturing centers, etc. You know, and now the exhaust fumes of vehicles are damaging the ozone layer, and the condition of life on earth, or the possibility of life on earth, is every day being threatened by many of the activities of human individuals. So in such a situation, writers belonging to the Green Movement and poets like G.F. Patel make us very much aware of the kind of atrocious, the kind of terrible activities we get involved in almost every day, which if we do not bring about some change or attitude, change in our attitude to such kind of style of life, it will endanger our survival on the earth altogether. And here is a poem which exposes, just like many other writings by G.F. Patel, exposes human hypocrisy when it comes to their attitude to nature and environment in general. They seem to be, doing a lot of cruelty to nature. And here in one poem, a very short poem, he brings to our live attention how damaging, how sometimes callous, how how mindless we are sometimes in dealing with I mean this delicate plane that's dealing with the environment. As a writer, of course, Jeev Patel has established himself as an author of great importance. He has published a few volumes of poems. The first one he published in 1966, entitled Poems. It's a collection of poems. The second one, How Do You Withstand Body, is another volume which he published in 1977. Mirrored Morning is another volume of poems he published in 1991. And apart from his poetry poetry compilations or volumes on poetry, he has to his credit 3 plays entitled Princess, Savaska, Mr. Bairam, etc. Besides being a poet and a writer of plays, Jeev Patel is a well-known painter also. Many of his paintings, he organized exhibitions of paintings in several important cities in India and outside. And in short, he is a medical practitioner who gets involved in environment-related activities, writing with the idea of protecting environment in mind, a member of the Green Movement, a playwright. Besides all these, he was a painter too. So in short, we can say that he was an unusual genius, a sort of genius with many aspects. So this is all about Jeev Patel, and here is the poem, and it falls into 4 stanzas, as you can find. Okay. So these 4 stanzas pinpointedly brings to your attention just one issue, that is killing a tree. Generally, people suppose killing a tree or felling a tree is an easy exercise, a simple exercise. But we find when we start doing it, we find that the resilience skill or the resilience on the part of the tree is very profound and very strong. A tree is not that easy to be disposed of. It needs a lot of effort on the part of a human being to end its life. Ending the life of a tree is not an easy thing, but to our big shock, we find that we do it quite often for purposes sometimes justifiable and sometimes for purposes which have no justification at all. So this the situation. Of course, we will have to sometimes kill trees, fell trees. Otherwise, we won't be able to make buildings or construct roads or build bridges, and for such requirements we need to remove trees from some spots. It will be our requirement. But we have to be with a patronizing attitude to nature, that our interferences of this kind do not damage nature at all. Our interferences of this kind do not cause any harm to the environment that we live in. So this is the idea. So killing a tree anyone can do, but it's not, you see, as easy as killing a human individual. Maybe compared with the physical labor required for killing a tree will be much greater than the physical effort required for killing a human being or killing an animal. The resilience for a human being or an animal is compared with that of a tree much less. Still, we are very much involved in the activities related to causing damage to nature, damage to environment by felling trees, sometimes for some necessity, sometimes for no necessity of any kind at all. Now let's take a look at the poem, and here you have the slides of the poem. Here look, it takes much time to kill a tree, not a simple jab of the knife will do it. It has grown slowly. So the first 3 lines, you focus on that. You find that the author says killing a tree is not that easy. It takes time. Just a jab of the knife will not make the tree die. Look here, it has grown slowly, consuming the earth. So it has been taking benefit from the earth, rising out of the earth, out of it, feeding upon its crust, absorbing years of sunlight, air, water. So a tree has been making use of the soil. It has been making use of whatever was available for, it to absorb for its growth. It has been absorbing sunlight, air, water, etc. And out of its leprous hide sprouting leaves. Leprous hide is the skin of the tree, you might have noticed, the skin of the tree. Trees have a rough skin actually, and it's very much like the leprosy affected limbs of a human individual, roughness. But that's the beauty and that's the attractiveness of in the appearance of a tree. So leprous, it's an adjective from leper. Leprous hide. Hide means a skin. So sprouting leaves, we find new shoots coming, new leaves appearing from the pore on the skin of the tree, which is rather leprous or uneven or somewhat shapeless or rough on the surface. So this how a tree looks like. This is how a tree grows, taking benefits from the soil, from the air, sunlight, water, etc. and new shoots or new leaves appearing on the rough skin of the tree. And now, so hack and chop, but this alone won't do. You're coming to kill a tree, hacking and chopping. Just with that act, the tree is not fully dead. No, just don't think so. Not so much pain will do it. A lot of pain is needed for this act. The bleeding bark will heal, not like a human limb. You cut off a human limb, what happens is that, cut off the limb, and what happens is that that's lost for good. Amputated limb is lost for good. But here, in the case of a tree, it's not like that. It's affected one part, you find the wound is healed very soon and it grows, and naturally the tree takes a different dimension or different direction in its growth, and it survives. And from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs. Close to the ground from the tree you find new twigs, new branches or new shoots coming. Then miniature boughs, small branches coming, which if unchecked will expand again to former size. Just imagine you cut off the tree, then from the stump there on the ground, from the residue, from what remains on the ground, you find a new plant, a new tree growing in a few days. So this shows that a tree has resilience capacity, unusual resilience capacity or skill, which human beings or animals do not have. But even then, we are so cruel to trees or nature that we destroy them, denying them a chance even for growing again. So now look here, the third stanza, no, the root is to be pulled out. If a tree is to be fully dead, you will have to pull out the root from the ground. Otherwise, new shoots will be coming and the tree will be growing back and a new tree will appear there. So out of the anchoring earth, a new shoot might come and it will be pulling out. Now you will have to pull out the root, otherwise the tree will not be dead in full. Even a felled tree, from the stump or from what remains, the residue on the ground, a new shoot may grow and it becomes in course of time a big tree. So it is to be roped, tied and pulled out, snapped out or pulled out entirely out from the earth cave, from the cave within the earth, the part, I mean, actually we dig the ground to plant a tree, and it's in a kind of a cave that it survives, it remains. But when you kill a tree, you will have to pluck it out in full from the cave, from the gap you have made in the ground for the tree to grow. And the strength of the tree exposed, you have to bring it out in full, and the source white and wet, the most sensitive, hidden for years inside the earth. So that part of the tree has to be brought back to the surface. Then the matter of scorching and the choking. Now the tree which you have felled is fully on the ground. It's lying there on the ground, and what's happening to it? Even when it's lying on the ground, if it gets water and if it is in contact with the ground, with the soil, it has a chance to grow again. But you put it in the sun, it is scorching, it is choking, it is losing the water element in it in full. In sun and air it remains, and it gets brown in color, hardening its stem, then twisting, withering, and then it is done. So see how tough, what a tough job it is to finish off the life of a tree. It's not a minute's job. It's not, the job of just jabbing the tree with your knife or anything. It's not even cutting it down and it's lying fallen on the ground. Still the tree may grow back. But when you pull it out from the cave in the earth where it was and put it on the dry soil, exposed to the sun, then in the hard weather, in the dry weather, in a few days' time, it dies in full. So difficult the task of killing a tree. Why is he? Now the question arises is, why is Jeev Patel promoting the act of killing a tree? Is he actually teaching you how to kill a tree? Is he giving you a kind of training in the act of killing a tree? That's very strange. Actually, read the poem again carefully. You find that the whole poem is very sarcastic. In a tongue-in-cheek style, he is actually with a sense of, say, humor, or in a sarcastic disposition, he is making us very much sensitized about our cruelty to plants and trees, our cruelty to the environment. He is not asking us how to, he is not asking us to kill trees. He is not training us in the act of killing trees. He is, on the other hand, holding a mirror to us. Mirror to whom? To someone who is felling a tree. So he is holding a mirror. How many days will someone have to hold a mirror to a person who kills a tree? It takes a long duration, not just a day or a few days. It takes sometimes months, sometimes a very long period. So this is what he is doing, showing a mirror to you, holding a mirror to the person, to a human individual who is felling a tree, for him to take a look at it and understand how cruel, how merciless the person was while he was involved in killing a tree. So just a jab, no, the tree wouldn't have bothered about it. It would have grown back, healing its wound. But it's not that. It's not the case. You're pulling out the root, the stem part remaining on the ground, and leaving it on the dry soil, exposed to the sun for it to die. And this is, you see, this is in fact to illustrate, to bring to your attention how intentionally, how deliberately we are ending the life of a tree. So with this, I am winding up my this video session on Jeev Patel's famous poem on killing a tree. Thank you so much.